A narcissist isn't abusive. He doesn't seem that bad. Maybe you're just imagining it. Maybe it's just something you're making up. Do you really think it's that way? A lot of times people start to discount the abuse that actually comes from a toxic person, mainly because they don't see it. You're the one that does. So oftentimes we have a narcissist in a person's life that appears a certain way in front of them and completely flips the script on how they're actually looking to other people. If you guys are new here, my name is Ben Taylor. I'm a self-aware narcissist on this platform to provide awareness, growth, healing, change, and development. I'm the founder of Realm Motivations, the creator of the Narc app, and your guide in the 45-day Clarity Challenge that you can access at claritychallenge.net. One of the things that people get confused about in narcissism is how it appears to different people. Like the narcissist in your life, he's only going to look a certain way to you. To everybody else, he's going to look a different way. Now, this could be as simple as yelling and screaming at you inside the house and then walking outside and helping an old lady with her trash cans. True story. Like there's many different pieces that happen when we talk about narcissism and narcissistic abuse that confuse people because they don't always see it. Take, for instance, if you went to couples counseling. A lot of times when you go to couples counseling, what you see is a different person in the couples counseling room than what you do at home. All of a sudden, he appears to look like he actually cares about you, that he cares about the relationship, that he wants the relationship to work, even though that's the exact opposite of what was being screamed in your face, even in the car on the way there. The difference is it has to change in order to look good in front of other people. And this is why it changes walking into the therapist's office. So many times people walk into the therapist's office with a narcissist, they sit down, they look over, and they're like, I don't actually know who's here with me today. It's the hard part about couples counseling, therapists working together with a couple is because the idea is coming together of like, hey, let's work on this together to get to a desired outcome, to get to a place where you're happy and healthy, where you guys are working on it together. The problem is one person walks into the room wanting that, broken, hurt, and not sure what to do. The other person walks into the room not wanting that, but not wanting to say that they don't want that, so they have to put up a different version of themselves. Typically what we call the mask. Narcissist is trying to appear a certain way without appearing bad at the same time. For me, I didn't want to appear bad to other people. I didn't want to look bad to other people. So the mask that I had was different depending on the people that I was around. One of the biggest ways that I didn't want to appear bad to other people was I didn't want to appear bad by getting a divorce. I didn't want that. I didn't want that at that time because at that time, I thought if I get a divorce, I'm going to look bad in my church, in society, in my parents' eyes, in the eyes of friends and family, in the eyes of my coworkers. I didn't want it. Instead, I wanted to look like the good person. So instead of just owning up and saying, hey, I'm not happy in this relationship, or hey, I've been cheating in this relationship, I didn't do either one. I just kept lying and sedating and hiding who I actually was. Thinking, maybe this will work out sometime. I'll just figure it out. I'll just keep being with other people to make myself happy, and then we'll just keep going from there. But instead, I decided not to actually show up as a man in the relationship. So I lied. So I cheated. So I hid. This is what happens so many times with toxic people, is not being willing to own up to the things that were going on. For me, I didn't want to own up to the fact that I did not want to be there, that I did not want to have a relationship with my wife. Instead, I wanted to go do whatever I wanted to go do. The difference is I didn't want to appear like I wanted to go to whatever I wanted to do. This is where it gets confusing to people because they're like, wait a second, like he's saying one thing and he's doing completely the opposite. Exactly. Because I'm only going to say the things that I wanted people to hear. I'm only going to say the things that I wanted people to have this perception of and not actually followed up with actions. So for me, it was more along the lines of a reverse discard. Like, I would rather make my wife have a living hell and have her leave the relationship than me actually own it and leave it. And this is part of the reason why I didn't leave it. I didn't ask for a divorce. There's times I tried to walk out or I tried to leave the relationship, but then I would still stay. There's a lot of times that she left and then she would come back because it kept going over and over and over again of the toxicity that I was actually bringing into the relationship. But again, I didn't want to admit that. That was not something that I was going to say, oh, I'm the bad person here, because I didn't want to believe that. So I hid that, I sedated it, and I put it behind a mask. When you're with a toxic person, you're only going to see one side. You're only going to see one version of them. After you fall past the love bombing phase, after they swipe the pedestal out from underneath you and you've fallen down on the floor, like they're only going to show you the one side because they don't care about you. They don't care about what you do, how you act, how you live. They only care about how this is actually affecting them. How are you making them feel? How are you making them look? How is the perception, the society, the money all affecting them? This is the part where a narcissist starts to flip the script and change the mask that they have depending on the person that they're around. You might see this in counseling, like we talked about. You might see this in the work environment, where he screams at you, he's mean to you, but then he goes to work and he's proclaimed as being the best person ever. He fixes all the problems. He's the greatest person there. This is how I was when I worked for Chick-fil-A for 10 years. I looked great in the company. Sometimes I was an asshole in the company, but I didn't care because I knew everything. I knew what I needed to do, and I made the moves I needed to do and got the results that people wanted. So as a result, they didn't really care. And I just did what I had to do in the moment to get what I needed to get done. But the part was then I wanted to use that story in my head to validate who I was, saying, oh, I'm a good person because people love and respect me at work. Then I could switch the script in my mind and be like, you know what? Actually, at home, I'm just the victim because she doesn't see my worth. She doesn't understand who I am. They do at work because I'm so amazing. She doesn't get that. And I use that as an excuse to cop out, to actually not show up in my relationship, to actually not put in effort in my relationship. But the whole point is it was different. There's a duality a lot of times that comes with a narcissist having one different impression with one people and a different impression with other people. And changing it up time and time again to appear a certain way, to save face a certain way, to act better in a certain way. That's the whole aspect. Now, you get a piece of shame that actually comes from this. There's a piece of shame of knowing I'm living incongruent with who I actually am. Like the fake version of me that I'm telling other people that is out there isn't actually who I am. Like I'm actually like hiding that, sedating who I actually am. Why? Because I don't like who I am. I don't like the person that is a liar and a cheater. I know that it's wrong. I know that it's destructive. I know that it's hurting people. But with a narcissist, it still means I can't be responsible. Because if I'm responsible, then I actually validates that shitty feeling that I have inside. A lot of narcissism is just about shame avoidance. What do I need to do in this moment to avoid guilt and shame? Part of the things that are anti that go against that, is giving gratitude about the situation. Of actually opening up and being vulnerable and honest and saying, hey, this is who I am. I've done several videos like this. I have a couple of videos where I talked about like the cheating and like what actually happened and the loads and loads of comments that are attacking me. And people like shaming me. And I'm not doing that to be a victim. Like, I don't really care at this point. But, like, that also brings out, and it's like, hey, I need to be able to accept that. People are like, you're a liar and you're a cheater. And I'm like, yes, that's who I was. 100%. I didn't show that I cared. I didn't show that I loved. I kept this duality, this difference in masks. And that's a lot of times what you're going to see a narcissist do time and time again. And if you're at that point and you're confused and you're like, I don't actually know what to believe, you're starting to get hit with cognitive dissonance. And the hard thing is with cognitive dissonance, it makes you immobile. It doesn't let you move. It puts you in the fog, the fear, the obligation, the guilt, and it leaves you there. And you're like, I don't actually know what to do. So maybe I won't do anything and maybe it'll get better. The problem is typically it never does. It always stays the same. The abuse keeps happening. You keep wondering, will it stop? Will he get aware? Will this happen? Will he change? And all this stuff happens and you never see any difference. The question I want to ask you today and to be able to pose to you is, how long are you going to stay? It doesn't even mean physically. Some of you are already out and you're still watching this video and you're realizing, wait a second, I'm actually not out. Like I've been saying I've been out. I've been saying I've been healed, but I still have the rumination. I still have the intrusive thoughts. I still have bits and pieces of the trauma bond that pulls me back mentally and emotionally to this person. If that's you today, I want you to click on rawmotivations.com. We've got a 7-day challenge there for $7. It's a challenge to be able to help you understand the hard truths you need to hear about narcissism. The aspects of what narcissism actually is, what it actually looks like. The reactive abuse that you had in the relationship and how you didn't cause narcissism. Understanding the guilt and the shame that you're now processing because of another person's actions. These things are essential to start working through. Until you work through them, a lot of times you will stay trapped. You will stay locked into a relationship, or you will stay locked into a mindset, never being able to trust anyone again, never being able to step out of the house to date again, never being able to move forward in the goals and the vision and the values of your life because you don't know who you are, you don't know the direction you're going, and you feel completely lost. This is where we find people every single day that come to Raw Motivations. And the goal is to provide a framework, a path, and a plan moving forward so that you can be healed, healthy, happy, and whole. And we do that by providing awareness, growth, healing, change, and development. If you want to learn more about that, then go to rawmotivations.com. Sign up for the 7-day challenge. It's $7. It's super easy to be able to sign up, be able to start your journey moving forward into healing. If you want to work with me one-on-one, you can click the link that'll actually be emailed to you once you sign up. We'll be able to interact, we'll be able to talk through and see how we can best partner. Whether you want the 7-day challenge, the clarity challenge, or to join more of the hands-on Thriver community where I work one-on-one with you for 90 days. To get you free, to make sure that you are healed, to get to the place where you have broken free of those limiting beliefs and you've developed who you are and not getting stuck with a toxic person that doesn't know who they are.